Something super neglected are exhibit animals, and today we are going to focus on exactly this by building a wonderful exhibit house. Have fun! And with that, welcome back finally to Zoo Sicily. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been focusing on Leafy Lake, but today we are building a all-in exhibit house with a binturong actually roaming around in there too, as a little spoiler, which is kind of cool. But I gotta admit also that this time lapse is gonna be a little bit more fractioned because I unfortunately had a lot of crashes this time around, so I'm not really sure what exactly that was, but it's been painful because all of these crashes led to, you know, redoing stuff a couple of times, and it's not really as I intended it to be, but it turned out better than expected because certain things that didn't work out the first time I had to redo because I lost it due to the crash. But I gotta admit, it looks really fun. It looks a lot of fun. It looks a lot better than I thought it was. And just in general, I'm very happy. You can see I'm buying quite a lot of exhibit animals over here, so it's gonna be like a tropical exhibit house, which I think is pretty cool, and we were really lacking something like that. I thought about making like a desert house too. Not sure if I'll be able to put this into this series because it's just too big, but in general I have an idea of doing certain more focused houses now in the next coming, well, weeks, months, I don't know, just because I feel like it's a lot of fun building these houses. This one is like more like a smaller one without dedicated facilities for staff, for example. It's just like an old, architectural thing turned into something, and it's basically the same story as with our lemur house, just something that, you know, used to be here or is kind of not really even it doesn't need to be something that existed. It might also be something that the zoo built, but then just like kind of inspired by the Sicilian area over here. And with the architectural style, I must admit, oh my god, I just tried so many things, and it ends up looking a lot more African than most of the things, which, to be honest, it does work, because obviously Sicily has a lot of influence from Africa too, which just makes sense, but I didn't want to turn it too much into an African-looking one. So at the end of the day, it is a fair mix between European, Sicilian style and the kind of a bit more African style, also, but, you know, with the usage of the different materials. But I gotta admit as well that with the future integration of the zoo, it's not like it at the moment, it stands a little bit alone. You'll see that later on in the real-time part. It does lack a little bit of the same vibe that the rest of the zoo has, but that's just pretty normal because it's like this blank house standing nowhere. And the same that applied to our lemur house. As soon as it's integrated into the main area, it starts looking a lot better. So I'm very pleased, and if you haven't seen the lemur house, I highly recommend watching that one so you have an idea how it later on is integrated into the whole area. I also had a lot of fun trying out different things regarding the architectural style of the roof. I wanted to go with a bit more of a modern one with a lot of glass. This is, well, two things that let me doing this. The first thing that let me do this is basically the light. Usually the indoor sections of houses in this game still don't look good. I mean, it's 10 times better than in Planet Coaster, but it still is a little bit dull, a little bit less saturated. I don't know, just the interior doesn't look as good as it could be, simply because also there's no ray tracing in this game. I mean, you know, ray tracing would actually destroy the performance even more, but just for a future game might actually be a good idea to have something like that, to have bouncy lights and stuff, to just get the feeling of still having daylight and stuff and make it look better interiors. But as we don't have it, I wanted to have a lot of glass. And the second one is, as it's a tropical house, this would also help with a lot of heat. So you don't need to generate the heat in most of the times of the year. You don't need to generate the heat. You just can use that with the roof, and then just try to make sure you add a bit of humidity to it, and then you should be good. But this is one of the ideas that came up in my mind. So yeah, for the general architectural style of like the base layout of the house, I was it's a bit of a like normal cathedral ship kind of style with that long central core, and then having these two arms branch out just a tiny bit. So it's nothing in particular crazy, just inspired by the general way how the cathedral is built. I left out the top bit, you know, that usually is created to, you know, have this kind of cross form, but yeah, it's just the way it is. Now, as you see that I'm going to do a lot of work in the interior and just kind of detailing stuff, you'll see that later on in the real-time part very much in detail. I want to take the moment to talk about the exhibits, specifically the small exhibits in this game. I will talk about this real quick in the real-time part as well, but I want to take the moment to really talk about those. I feel like they're really neglected in this game for various reasons. I think the most obvious reason is the boredom factor. Like, there is not really that much you can do with these things. You put them down, you put the animal in, you click a couple of, enrichment items on or off, and that's about it. You can't really do much more about this. We still don't have a null variant of those. We still don't have different sizes, even though we have now a walkthrough exhibit that is bigger. I think this is one of the areas that could lead to a huge improvement of this game without integrating anything big and new. Like, let me just give you a couple of examples. The first and foremost biggest issue I have with these things is that you can't add more than one to each other. Like, you have this 4x4 blueprint and you either take it or leave it. There is no way of connecting two together, for example, to get a 4x8, for example. There is no way of getting an 8x8, for example. That would, for example, help a lot, specifically with the likes of the iguanas or the big snakes like the boa constrictor or the anaconda, because these animals are way too big for the small footprint. But then again, the same applies into the other direction. 4x4 is way too big for some of the other little critters, just as a salamander you'll see in today's build, or some of the spiders. They are usually held in smaller ones. I mean, you could argue that for those, this is conservational. Like, with the conservation focus, they have like a huge habitat, and that's fine. I mean, okay, I could take it, but then just give me an 8x8 for the likes of the snakes, as I said. Now, this is one of the things. I understand why they did this as like basically an animated animatronic in there. And I can deal with this for this game specifically. I wouldn't be able to deal with this with a future successor. Let me just put that straight, because I feel like, yeah, you can get away with it right now maybe, but you can't in the future. That these animals don't really do anything else than just being animated props in a habitat that you can click together. Now, I have to say though that, if you take all these things and just, accept it, they are so well made, and we have got so many animals in these exhibits that is really cool, and they enrich your zoo quite a lot if you have them. So I'm very happy that I decided to do this little experiment of putting this house in, because, as I said, the animals specifically are neglected for this very obvious reason. And I feel like the improvement could be really simple by just adding different sizes for the exhibit. And honestly, if it's just for me, I don't really need that many different design options. I would be totally happy with like one design option that I can use and then be happy with it, because I can still add a couple of little things. Like, just give me a couple of small detailing options, nothing big. I can still put them in. That would be absolutely fine. But then again, it would add so much more realism to it. That I remember that so many people did make these fake little ones by just putting a 4x4 down and then using walls and stuff to create some small areas. But then obviously you need to slam in, 20 specimens to make sure that you at least can see one in this small window, which is not, that's not the idea. That should not be this way. So at the end of the day, I really, 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 really hope that Frontier might actually tackle this in this game, or even like if there is a new successor, this system has to be completely overhauled. I'm very sad that, I don't really feel like there is a chance to get an overhaul in this base game version, because, well, it still would be a big stretch to put him in. But then I feel like this could be a huge step ahead for the game. And I do see it on a similar level as birds and aquatics. Like, that's exactly what we would need to make better zoos and just a better game out of this game. And also maybe manage it a little bit better by just having different options to, for example, mix animals together in an exhibit area. Just like have a tropical exhibit area and then, separate them by, 2 or 3 areas, and then you can put these tropical animals in. I don't know how exactly it would work, but I really feel like this would be badly needed in order to make them more accessible. I loved building this house, but specifically in here, it was more about the house and the challenge to bring the binturong in later on, rather than the exhibit animals themselves. There is only so much you can do with them, and that's a little bit annoying, and you can't really get in. Like, if I remember, for example, the Burger Zoo in the Netherlands, they have like a desert house, which is so cool because it's like this huge desert land where you've got all these different animals in there, and some exhibits at the sides and in all the different shapes, and sometimes they even integrated that in these fake desert rocks, and sometimes you can just look below these desert rocks and then there's an exhibit in there. Like, that is so cool, and you can do so many cool things with it, but you know, that's all impossible because you only have these 4x4x4 meters square boxes. I know, it's weird. And I really wish to have like a different solution for that in the future. But with all that said, this is just like constructive criticism. I still think, and this is what I said earlier, they look really gorgeous. And you can really do some nice greenhouses, exhibit houses, as you can see over here. You can do it with it. Now, I'm doing here a little bit of a final touches here by just putting in some cool little lower fences to make them really look like this. Was the only target about this was to make these exhibits look like as if they were supposed to be this way. Like, I make them intentionally bigger and intentionally look as if they belong together, you know. It's really something that I wanted to do in order to give it a feeling of coherency, that's the word, of being cohesive, but coherency is the word I was looking for, so that this is actually like a planned house that should be looking like that. And yeah, as always, the biggest issue is that these two things don't really connect together nicely. So what I needed to do is obviously put some hiding hiding elements in between. Yeah, I just took some snakes and then plopped them between the windows, and that were some hiding animal. Oh gosh, no, I didn't. But yeah, as I can see, I was looking for some animals we could use in here, and I was like very happy with the choice of binturong. And the rest of the time lapse now is figuring out how to put a path in, and that's about it. I will actually give you a little bit of a nice transition now into the real time part, because then you can see how it finally turned out to be looking. Alright, as promised, here we are in the live part, and we are standing just in front of the new exhibit hall, and yeah, I do like it. After a lot of different variations, I do quite like it. It will look a lot more Sicilian as soon as it's well integrated into the area. At the moment, it's a little bit more standalone, but I just really love how it all came together with a lot of these new plants we got from the latest packs. I think it looks fantastic, and yeah, just going in here, look at that. This really gets the feeling of an exhibit hall, and you have all these little areas here to explore, you know, go over here. I might actually do a couple more things here to make it look nicer for the binturongs, but they can roam around, so it's pretty neat. And once you go up here, you have a chance to see them. Look at this, there's one there idling on top of that thing, I guess, because I've seen that stuck there for a couple of times. Anyways, but yeah, the more you go through here, actually the explore mode doesn't really function that well. Just gonna, oh, look at that, we're down here. Yeah, I wanted to show you the lower end area anyways. But yeah, look at that. I mean, it looks so cool, and everything looks so much more integrated now. If we have a look in here, we can see if we can spot someone who's living in here. I totally forgot what I was putting in these, but this is actually the idea about this. So that I think this is the terrapin. The terrapin should be somewhere in here. Let's see if we can find it. There you go. There's one. Oh, it's yawning. Look at that. Oops. There's another one. Look at that. Ooh, you're well hidden. Look at that. Oh, lovely. Ooh, this is one of the best shots I've ever seen of that one. Let me just grab a photo. You look fantastic, my friend. Cool. Oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, I was not meant to go in here, but yeah, whatever. Oh, look at this, also kind of a very nice vista over here. Look, this is like with the sun floating in, and just everything came together very nicely. I think this is something we did really lack in this park, for example, and just in general from my projects in general. This is the noob crest over here. Let's see if we can spot one of those. I actually got to put some more than just a couple in, so that we increase the chances of seeing them. But I mean, this is how it is with these exhibits, right? At some point, I really, like during the build, I was like, man, we just pay too much attention to everything else and too little attention to how well designed these exhibits are actually. I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of those. Most of these animals I wished to have in a different way, but specifically those ones, little spiders over here. Like, why would you have this in a different way? You know, it's totally fine the way it is. Oops, I can't really get closer to the spider. There you go. There you go. Look at that one. Sitting there, lovely on the tree trunk. But yeah, so there's a lot to explore once you're in here. And I do quite like this in zoos, like specifically in zoos like that used to be a bit smaller. They have these houses, and at least, you know, you get to see these animals then. I quite do like this. Look at that. There's a salamander. There you go. Trying to show you also some of these animals. Usually we just go away, go along there and just like, ah, yeah, blah, 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 that's that. But no, really have to see them. In this one, we have the, look at that one, the yellow anaconda. Basically, it's the boa constrictor in an albino version, I guess, or leucistic. I don't know. It's not the yellow anaconda, it's the boa constrictor. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's just take a little photo of this one because it's just really like that. But as I said, specifically the boa is one of these animals I wished to have as a bit more of an, you know, habitat animal. But it's good to see, like, if there's ever going to be a Planet Zoo 2, this is one of these areas where the biggest leaps are possible. Over here, this is the yellow anaconda, and we again have an albino version in here. Oh, look at that one. This looks even cooler, I guess. Ah, wait. Where's the head? Oh, it's not in the water. There you go. This is the head. Oh, love that. Love that. Look at this. Look at you. You're looking good with the red eye. But yeah, this is definitely the area where you can improve the most in this game. A lot of these animals should have been habitat animals at some point. So specifically the snakes, and also, like, for example, the green iguana, or the iguana in general. I would have loved to see them. But yet again, you know, seeing what the climbing does most of the times, I somehow do understand why they didn't. But yeah, as I said, there's room for improvement in a potential successor at some point in the future, which is good. I think in here there should be the frogs. Can't really tell if they're in or not. Look, let's have a little look if we can find someone over here. There you go. There's one of the frogs. Look at that. Frog. Oh, whoops. Frog. Hey, my friend. Okay, cool. Yeah, as I said, it would be so much better if they would actually swim around and stuff like that. That would be lovely. But, you know, I couldn't ask for more at this point. Simply, it's not the way it is, you know, and I think we just have to take it. Oops. I did not want to go up here. Anyways, there you go. Who's living in here? I totally forgot. Let's have a look if we find the animal that lives in here. I have no clue who's living in here, mate. Hello? Anyone in the trunk here? Nope. Okay. Oh, there you go. This is the axolotl. Look at that. There is it. Ooh, look. This is so cool. You gotta be a kid to see it. You gotta be a kid to see it. Wait, I can actually zoom in with a bit of a different technique. You guys should also be able to be seeing that. There you go. Look at you. Look at you. That's so cool. Okay. But this is how the exhibit hall is looking like at the moment. There are a couple of tiny little things I need to do still. Bit of lighting in these areas. Bit of, you know, maybe some carpets on the ground. I don't know. And obviously I'll do that as soon as we will integrate that in the area. Wait a sec. I'm going to, you know, we haven't really talked about where it's sitting actually in our park. And this is rather important, you know. Let me just also grab these things over here. We don't really need them anymore. Let's just delete those things that are in the way. There you go. Okay, so it's sitting right on top here, and we also have, actually I have paid attention to some good sidelines. So once you're down here, wait, where is it? There you go. If you're down here in this area, you can still see it. If we just stop over here and zoom all the way in, whoops, you can see there it is. I really love that. It's so cool that you have this vista from down here, so that people actually want to go there eventually. As I said, we will have to do a redo with the lions over here. I'm not particularly happy with it, how it is at the moment. I have some ideas what to do, but it's going to be a whole lot of work. And then you can see from the penguin area, you're going all the way up here. For the penguins, I mean, we talked about this. I will potentially exchange this roof at some point. It was a good idea. I have a better idea now to make this equally good looking, but in a different way. So that is definitely something to be tackled in the future. But other than that, we are going to the final stages of this zoo, guys. The only little bits I need to fill up is basically this area, and this one is already set up in a way that we will have like a nice balcony around. Like this entire area will be a huge balcony that is going to have like a restaurant sitting around here, maybe some smaller habitats. We are going to connect it with this area. Yet again, as I said, over here this will also be natural, so that this back area is going to be the handoff into the nature. We're going to make this nature look good. We're going to connect this way over here. There's not going to be happening too much more on this hill. Going to be putting a couple more trees like here and there, so that this is all nicely fenced up. I'm going to, you know, dress up this area. This is like a temporary bridge, as we all know. I have to make like a properly nice zigzag course up here, like very nice and tidy. And then the last bit where we are going to have a potentially nice habitat is actually this spot over here. And that one, this area, is also going to be turned into like a restaurant seating area. And then that is it, guys. We are then almost done. The waterfall will be done. So with the vista from over here for the waterfall will be pretty nice. This is the idea behind all of that. And then guiding the water from over here down into the, yeah, well, basin, I don't know, into the sea. Actually, it should be. Yeah. A couple of things we have to still do, but I am still very pleased with Zoo Sicily so far. As you can tell, as soon as there are some more trees around in here, it really looks super finished. You know, the zoo can't really branch out too much more. This is going to be like a field. We're going to do some more rock work, and in the visible spots, you know, I will make sure that this is only like a couple of things will be visible. But yeah, so that's that. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I certainly did enjoy building in here a lot. Next episode will be again in Leafy Lake, but for the moment that's that. I really hope you enjoyed this wonderful new exhibit hall. The yeah, well, actually turned out very nice, at least in my opinion. I hope you guys think so too. Until then, have a good time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.